Is the federal government doing all it can to fight COVID-19?
I think the Canadian government has done a pretty good job of managing it. I think the Nova Scotia government has done a really good job of managing it. I don't know what else they could do. It's really up to Canadians in general to take it seriously and do what they're supposed to do. I mean, the guidelines are there. All you have to do is follow them.
Yes, and Nova Scotia especially, considering, again, I'm from the States where it's a lot worse. Canada, I think, is doing a really good job, at least in Nova Scotia. I know out west it's getting a little bit more harder hit because it's almost for a denser population, but East Coast-wise, the Maritimes, I think they're doing a really good job.
If anything, perhaps governments can fast-track the process or procedure to get the rapid tests. I think rapid tests are just one element of trying to deal with the COVID situation, and I'm actually surprised. That we haven't seen rapid tests get here quicker, whether it's Nova Scotia or Canada.
I don't think there's much more the government can do if people won't obey the suggestions of how to stay safe.
Who knew how this would be, right? I think there's lots of things that they need to be doing, like instant testing, and get that perfect so anybody can walk across the street and get a test for whatever reason, whether we want to get away or whether we want to go see a parent, or the testing has got to be the key, and I think they're slacking a little bit on that side.
Yes, I think so. Being an international student, I have seen a lot that Canadian government do for the students. The sub was very great, so I think yes.
I think the federal government is doing all it can to fight COVID-19. I think they've balanced the economic cost with the need for public safety, and I think the federal government is doing a good job, as are the provincial governments.
Yes, I do, actually. The Trudeau's Liberal government, I think, has done a fairly good job. Much better than much of the world, I would say, in comparison, especially to the poor souls to our south. And in fact, Nova Scotia's done better than the whole country, so that's not too bad either. I mean, number one again. In a sad, tragic world situation.
I know Indigenous communities specifically have been speaking about how they don't have enough supplies, how transporting things such as hand sanitizer or masks into the area has been difficult. Moving in and out of communities has been very difficult. I think that their stance with both Indigenous and more white urban areas has been passable, better than others, but there are absolutely many ways that it can be improved.
But I think going back into total lockdown is not such a good idea. I think there's got to be other measures. But overall, the stuff I'm seeing in the news and the steps they're taking, I feel they're doing a good job.
Considering some places are going back into lockdown, no.
What more can they do?
There comes a limit. I think there's so much the government can do, and then there's so much human beings can do, and I don't think human beings are doing enough.
The reality is you really need to look at, long-term care facilities. You need to look at mental health. You need to look at the infrastructure that keeps Canadian citizens healthy, and then figure out, where have we lost our step.
In terms of the economics of it and the economy stimulus packages, I think that's been good. But I think in terms of dealing with the actual pandemic, it's more up to the provinces to know what they need, because all of our needs are obviously so different.
We do not look after our elderly the way we should after they've built this country, right? And same with our veterans. We don't look after them properly. I'd really be happy if the federal government focused more on looking after our own first and then branching out from there.
It's sad because we're learning different things every day about this pandemic, and they get the raw end of the deal because it's like, 1 minute they're saying they should have done this, and then, they didn't do this quick enough, and every day is a learning experience. The nature of this beast changes every day, so I don't know, I think they're trying to deal with it as best as they can. Could have they done things differently? Sure, but we're learning. It's a learning process.
I don't think they've done everything they can, but I don't know that anybody really knew what to do or what could be done. I take exception to people like Andrea Horwath, who all they want to do is criticize, in this case, Doug Ford, but to be critical when everybody's trying their best and everything costs money I think is a mistake. I'm not a federal Liberal supporter, but I don't think this is a time for criticism.
I believe that it's done all it can. You know, there are certain things that you have to consider, I guess. One is that people need to eat, and the government can only supply so much. You know, after the funds are gone, what are you going to do?
I think that the federal government is maybe not doing all it can, but it's doing the best it can. I think because, you know what, at the end of the day, nobody really knows what's going on. Everyone has their opinions, which they're entitled to. I find it can be a bit concerning when people start to compare opinions and attack each other, and that's how obviously the country gets separated. So as long as everyone can kind of agree that we have to at least handle this together, I think the government is doing a really good job of pushing that agenda, saying we're kind of all in this together.
I think the federal government's doing the best they can in a bad situation. To be subjective in this case would be a zero-sum game. Could they do more? Probably. Could they do less? Probably. It's hard to say. The second wave is going to make decisions more difficult as the economy continues to be ground down.
Things need to be shut down again. Kids need to stop going to school because kids are full of germs and they are going to spread it a lot more. And I mean, you can't tell little kids to keep away from each other. They want to hug their friends. They want to hang out with their friends. So I mean, that social distancing at school, I don't think is actually happening.
I guess businesses like mine, I'm a musician, we own a studio. We're not able to do promotion or shows or anything. So some of those things I have issues with, but in general, for sure, I think our government's doing as much as they can, right?
Could they be doing more? Yes. Are they? Well, we're not sure yet. Time will tell.